We have never been more connected, yet so many feel utterly alone. In the digital realm, intimacy is only a click away, yet genuine connection often remains frustratingly out of reach. Is our relentless pursuit of online validation filling a void, or merely deepening the chasm between our curated selves and our authentic selves? For millennia, humans have sought connection and community. From ancient tribes gathering around communal fires to modern cities fostering diverse social ecosystems, the desire to connect with others is deeply ingrained in our nature. Social rituals, whether communal meals, religious ceremonies, or even the simple act of sharing stories, have always served as a means of strengthening bonds and reinforcing a sense of belonging. But the rules have changed. Carl Jung's work offers invaluable insights into understanding the nature of the human psyche within the digital age. His concepts of the persona, the shadow, and the collective unconscious provide a powerful framework for unpacking the psychological effects of digital isolation. The persona, the mask we present to the world, often becomes meticulously crafted online, a highlight reel of carefully curated experiences. The shadow, those unconscious aspects of our personality we often repress or deny, finds new avenues for expression in the anonymity of the digital world. And the collective unconscious, that shared, inherited psychic structure, manifests in the viral trends, online anxieties, and collective obsessions that dominate our digital landscape. The search for meaning and authenticity is a fundamental human drive, arguably more critical now than ever before. We all yearn to feel seen, heard, and understood, to connect with others on a deeper level, and to find our place in the world. However, the digital world can create a distorted sense of connection, offering the illusion of intimacy without the substance of genuine relationship. The pressure to present a perfect image on social media, the constant comparison to others' seemingly flawless lives, and the echo chambers that reinforce our existing beliefs can all contribute to feelings of inadequacy, disconnection, and profound loneliness. It is becoming increasingly difficult to find authentic modes of connection. How can we navigate the digital landscape in a way that fosters genuine connection, authenticity, and psychological well-being? This video will explore the psychological effects of digital isolation, revealing how technology shapes our unconscious, and providing practical tools for cultivating authenticity and connection in the digital age. We'll delve into the dark side of social media, examine the curated self, and learn to recognize our digital shadow. Then, we will explore Jung's ideas on how to reclaim our unconscious. By understanding these principles, you'll gain not just intellectual knowledge, but also practical techniques for mitigating the negative effects of digital isolation, cultivating more authentic connections, and reclaiming your inner life. So, let's begin our exploration into the psychology of digital isolation. Section 1. The Digital Shadow. Unveiling the dark side of online behavior. Carl Jung posited that each of us carries a shadow, a repository of the unconscious aspects of our personality that we repress or deny. This shadow encompasses not only negative traits, impulses, and emotions, but also unacknowledged positive qualities. In the digital world, however, does this shadow find an especially fertile ground to emerge, amplified by the anonymity and lack of immediate consequence that the internet provides. Social media platforms, with their capacity for instant communication and global reach, have become a breeding ground for trolling, cyberbullying, and online aggression. These behaviors are in many ways manifestations of shadow projections. When we encounter online content or individuals that trigger strong negative emotions, we often unconsciously project our own shadow onto them, attributing our own disowned qualities to the other. This projection can lead to hostile and aggressive behavior, fueled by a sense of righteousness or moral superiority. For example, labeling someone as stupid, evil, or unworthy is a common shadow projection in online interactions. These labels, often hurled from behind the shield of anonymity, reflect our own repressed feelings of inadequacy or worthlessness. Jung writes that the shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality, for no one can become conscious of the shadow without considerable moral effort. The anonymity afforded by the internet exacerbates this tendency, diminishing accountability and emboldening individuals to act in ways they might otherwise restrain in face-to-face interactions. Is this anonymity, then, not a facilitator of our basest impulses? Beyond individual expressions, the internet can also amplify our collective shadow, those shared societal anxieties, prejudices, and hatreds that simmer beneath the surface of civilized discourse. Internet trends can often expose our deepest societal anxieties and prejudices. Consider, for example, the proliferation of conspiracy theories that tap into collective fears about government control, social unrest, or economic instability. These theories, often spread through social media echo chambers, provide a convenient scapegoat for our anxieties, allowing us to project our shadow onto a vaguely defined them. Propaganda and disinformation, weaponized in the digital age, can target online populations, manipulating their fears and prejudices to achieve political or social ends. The internet becomes a battleground for competing narratives, each vying for control of the collective psyche. Jung stated, "The shadow is a living part of the personality, and therefore wants to live with it in some form. It cannot be argued out of existence or wheedled into reasonableness." Acknowledging our digital shadow is, therefore, not merely a matter of personal responsibility, but a crucial step towards cultivating a more authentic and compassionate online presence. By becoming aware of our own negative impulses and projections, we can reduce their power over us and foster more constructive online interactions. This awareness requires a willingness to confront our own inner darkness, to examine the prejudices and biases that lurk within our unconscious. It demands a commitment to empathy, to understanding the perspectives of others, even when we disagree with them. So, how can we actively mitigate our shadow's influence in the digital world? Section 2. The curated self. The persona and the illusion of perfection. Just as the shadow represents our hidden depths, the persona, in Jungian terms, is the mask we present to the world, the social role we adopt to fit in and gain acceptance. It is our public face, the carefully constructed image we project to navigate social interactions. How, then, do we curate our online persona, and what aspects of ourselves do we choose to reveal or conceal in this digital theater? Social media platforms often encourage us to showcase our best selves, leading to an almost compulsive need to present a perfect image online. This pressure to conform to unrealistic expectations can be particularly intense, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Filters, editing tools, and carefully staged photos contribute to this illusion of perfection, creating a distorted reality where everyone appears to be living their best life. Consider the pervasive use of beauty filters on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, which can alter facial features, smooth skin, and enhance perceived attractiveness. These filters, while seemingly harmless, can contribute to body dysmorphia and low self-esteem, especially among young people. Similarly, carefully curated travel photos, showcasing exotic destinations and seemingly carefree lifestyles, can create a sense of envy and inadequacy among those who feel stuck in their daily routines. Jung observed that the persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society, fittingly enough a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. The danger, of course, lies in over-identification with the persona. When we become too attached to our online image, we risk losing touch with our authentic selves, becoming mere performers in a digital spectacle. We may start to believe our own hype, becoming narcissistic and out of touch with reality. The Greek myth of Narcissus offers a cautionary tale. Narcissus, captivated by his own reflection in a pool of water, became so enamored with his image that he eventually withered away, unable to tear himself away from the illusion. Similarly, in the digital age, we can become so fixated on our online persona that we neglect our inner lives, sacrificing genuine connection for the fleeting validation of likes and comments. This need for external validation can lead to anxiety and depression, as we constantly strive to maintain the illusion of perfection, fearing exposure or judgment. Is this not the core paradox of modern connection? True connection, however, arises not from the presentation of a flawless facade, but from the courage to be genuine and vulnerable. Embracing our imperfections and flaws allows us to build more meaningful relationships based on authenticity and mutual acceptance. This requires a shift in perspective, from seeking external validation to cultivating self-compassion and self-love. It demands a willingness to be seen as we truly are, warts and all, trusting that true connection will emerge from our genuine selves. But what happens when the lines between our carefully crafted online persona and our authentic selves become blurred, when we struggle to distinguish between the mask and the face beneath? Section 3. Echo CHAMBRS, and the loss of individuation. As we cultivate our online personas, we often find ourselves drawn to communities and content that reinforce our existing beliefs. This tendency, amplified by algorithms and personalized content feeds, can trap us in echo chambers, limiting our exposure to diverse perspectives and hindering the crucial process of individuation. But how do these echo chambers work, and what are their implications for our psychological development? Social media platforms, driven by the need to maximize engagement, employ sophisticated algorithms to curate our feeds, showing us content that is most likely to capture our attention. These algorithms analyze our past behavior, tracking the content we like, share, and comment on, and then tailor our feeds accordingly. While this personalization can be convenient, it can also create echo chambers, where we are primarily exposed to information that confirms our existing beliefs, reinforcing our biases and limiting our exposure to dissenting viewpoints. The effects can be seen in the increasing political polarization, as individuals retreat into online communities that validate their political ideologies, demonizing those who hold opposing views. These echo chambers directly impede the Jungian process of individuation, the journey towards becoming a whole and integrated individual, distinct from the collective. Individuation requires us to confront our shadow, integrate our unconscious aspects, and develop a unique sense of self, grounded in our own experiences and values. Echo chambers hinder this process by limiting our exposure to different viewpoints, preventing us from challenging our own assumptions and reinforcing a sense of groupthink. Jung believed that individuation was essential to psychological and spiritual maturity. He writes, "Individuation does not mean individualism, but the highest and ultimate fulfillment of the collective qualities of a human being." This process requires the ability to tolerate ambiguity, to engage in critical thinking, and to embrace the tension of opposing viewpoints. The dangers of groupthink and conformity within echo chambers cannot be overstated. When dissenting opinions are silenced or marginalized, creativity and innovation are stifled, leading to intellectual stagnation. Consider, for example, the historical events where groupthink led to disastrous consequences, such as the Bay of Pigs invasion or the Challenger space shuttle disaster. In these cases, dissenting voices were suppressed, leading to flawed decision-making and tragic outcomes. Independent thought and a willingness to challenge the status quo are essential for personal growth and societal progress. Yet, so many find it easier to succumb to groupthink. Breaking free from these echo chambers, therefore, demands a conscious effort to seek out diverse perspectives, engage in constructive dialogue, and challenge our own assumptions. This requires intellectual humility, a willingness to admit that we don't have all the answers, and openness to new ideas. It necessitates a commitment to critical thinking, to evaluating information objectively, and to questioning the narratives we are presented with. This is not simply an act of intellectual exercise, but the bedrock of psychological self-reliance and spiritual discovery. But is all digital connection truly harmful? Or can we also find positive connection through the collective unconscious online? Section 4. The collective unconscious online. A source of both anxiety and connection, Carl Jung described the collective unconscious as a shared, inherited psychic structure containing universal archetypes, symbols, and patterns of behavior. This collective unconscious, then, finds new and potent expressions in the digital age. But how do collective anxieties, desires, and archetypes manifest in the online phenomena that captivate our attention and shape our perceptions? Online trends, from viral challenges to ubiquitous memes, often reflect collective anxieties, tapping into shared fears, insecurities, and hopes. Consider, for example, the anxieties surrounding climate change, which manifest in online discussions about environmental disasters, sustainable living, and the future of the planet. These anxieties, while potentially overwhelming, can also be a source of connection, as individuals come together online to share their concerns, offer support, and advocate for change. But are these just digital mirages of real action? Archetypes, those universal patterns of behavior and imagery that are present in all cultures, find new life in online narratives, characters, and symbols. The hero, the villain, the mother, and the trickster are just a few examples of archetypes that are commonly used in online content, shaping our emotions and influencing our behavior. The narratives we consume online, from blockbuster movies to viral videos, often draw upon these archetypes, providing us with a sense of familiarity and connection to universal themes. Von Franz wrote, "The archetype is a dynamism, a great motive power, a spirit which grips human beings." The internet, then, offers the potential for positive connection through the collective unconscious, connecting us to others who share our values, interests, and experiences. Online communities can provide support, inspiration, and a sense of belonging, allowing us to find our tribe in the vast digital landscape. For those seeking solace, support groups dedicated to mental health provide a safe space for individuals to connect, share their experiences, and receive encouragement. These communities, while not a replacement for face-to-face interaction, can offer invaluable support to those who feel isolated or alone. But what happens when online connection can't satisfy one's deeper psychological needs, when the search for meaning leads to digital addiction and escapism? Section 1. Digital addiction as unconscious compensation. Escaping reality through technology addiction is more than just a behavioral pattern. It's often an unconscious attempt to fill a void, to compensate for underlying emotional pain or unmet needs. Just as an alcoholic might turn to drink to numb feelings of loneliness or anxiety, excessive technology use can become a digital anesthetic, dulling the pain of unresolved trauma or the sting of everyday life. But what are we truly escaping from when we plunge into the digital world, and what unmet needs are we desperately trying to satisfy? Consider the individual who spends hours scrolling through social media, seeking validation through likes and comments. This behavior may be a form of unconscious compensation for low self-esteem, a desperate attempt to feel seen and appreciated in a world where they feel invisible. Or take the gamer who immerses themselves in virtual worlds for countless hours, achieving feats of mastery and recognition that are absent in their real life. This could be an unconscious attempt to compensate for feelings of inadequacy or lack of control, finding solace and a sense of purpose in a digital realm. Similarly, the rise of online pornography can be seen as an unconscious compensation for a lack of intimacy or meaningful connection, seeking fleeting pleasure and a simulated sense of closeness in the absence of genuine human contact. Studies have shown a strong correlation between social media use and increased rates of anxiety and depression, suggesting that these platforms, while offering a semblance of connection, can exacerbate underlying emotional distress. The American Psychological Association found that young adults who spend more than 2 hours a day on social media are more likely to report feelings of social isolation and loneliness. What is it about the digital world that makes it such a potent escape from our own realities? The allure of digital addiction lies, in part, in the dopamine rush it provides. The brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward, when we engage in activities that are deemed pleasurable, reinforcing those behaviors and creating a cycle of addiction. Technology companies, well aware of this neurochemical process, design their products to exploit the brain's reward system, making them incredibly addictive. The concept of variable rewards is a key element in this design. Variable rewards are unpredictable and intermittent, keeping us hooked by the anticipation of a potential payoff. Consider the slot machine, which dispenses rewards at random intervals, creating a powerful sense of anticipation and excitement. Social media platforms use a similar strategy, delivering notifications, likes, and comments at unpredictable times, triggering a surge of dopamine and keeping us glued to our screens. Each notification is a potential reward, a validation of our existence, a hit of dopamine that reinforces our digital habits. But unlike real-world rewards that often require effort and skill, these digital dopamine hits are easily accessible, requiring minimal effort and providing instant gratification. Is it any wonder that we find ourselves drawn to these readily available sources of pleasure, even when they come at the expense of our well-being? Breaking free from digital addiction requires us to confront the underlying needs that drive our behavior. By becoming aware of our unmet emotional needs, we can begin to find healthier ways to cope and build more fulfilling lives. This might involve seeking therapy to address unresolved trauma, cultivating meaningful relationships to combat loneliness, or pursuing hobbies and interests that provide a sense of purpose and accomplishment. It demands a willingness to step away from the digital world and engage in activities that nourish our souls and connect us to the present moment. What then are some practical steps we can take to break free from the cycle of digital addiction and reclaim our lives? Section 2. RECLAM-G Authenticity. Practical techniques for mitigating digital isolation. Cultivating self-awareness is the first crucial step in breaking free from the cycle of digital addiction and building a more authentic life. Practices such as mindfulness meditation, journaling, and therapy can help us become more attuned to our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, allowing us to identify the triggers that lead us to seek solace in the digital world. But how exactly do these techniques work, and what specific benefits can they offer? Mindfulness meditation involves focusing our attention on the present moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice can help us become more aware of our emotional state, allowing us to recognize when we are feeling anxious, lonely, or bored, and to resist the urge to immediately reach for our phones or computers. A simple mindfulness exercise might involve focusing on our breath, noticing the sensation of each inhale and exhale, and gently redirecting our attention back to our breath whenever our mind wanders. Journaling can be a powerful tool for processing emotions and identifying patterns of behavior. By writing down our thoughts and feelings, we can gain a clearer understanding of our inner world, recognizing the connections between our emotions, our behaviors, and our digital habits. Therapy, whether individual or group, can provide a safe and supportive space to explore the underlying issues that contribute to digital addiction. A therapist can help us identify unresolved trauma, develop healthier coping mechanisms, and build more fulfilling relationships. Jung himself placed great emphasis on dream analysis as a means of accessing the unconscious and gaining insight into our inner selves. So, how can we translate these techniques into concrete strategies for managing our technology use? Setting healthy boundaries with technology is another essential step in mitigating digital isolation. This involves establishing limits on screen time, turning off notifications, and creating tech-free zones in our homes, allowing us to regain control over our digital habits and prioritize real-world interactions. Setting limits on social media use can be particularly beneficial, as these platforms are designed to be highly addictive. We might start by setting a daily time limit for social media use, gradually reducing our time on these platforms as we find healthier ways to fill our time. Turning off notifications can also significantly reduce the temptation to constantly check our phones, allowing us to focus on the task at hand and be more present in our real-world interactions. Creating tech-free zones in our homes, such as the bedroom or the dining table, can provide a refuge from the digital world, allowing us to relax and connect with our loved ones without distractions. But beyond setting limits, how do we actively cultivate real-world connections and build meaningful relationships in the digital age? Building real-world connections is paramount to cultivating meaningful relationships with friends, family, and community members. This can provide a sense of belonging and support that can buffer against the negative effects of digital isolation, reminding us that we are not alone and that we are valued for who we are, not just for our online personas. Strategies for building and maintaining strong relationships in the digital age might include scheduling regular face-to-face interactions with loved ones, joining a club or organization that aligns with our interests, or volunteering our time to support a cause we believe in. It's essential to prioritize face-to-face interactions and shared experiences, as these are the foundation of strong and lasting relationships. Sharing a meal, going for a hike, or attending a concert together can create lasting memories and strengthen our bond with others. Von Franz writes that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. In essence, real-world connection offers transformation that a digital one simply can't replicate. How does all this connect back to Jungian principles? And how can we use these principles to guide our efforts to reclaim our authenticity in the digital world? Integrating the shadow, developing the persona consciously, and participating in the collective in a way that supports the individuation process are all essential components of reclaiming authenticity in the digital age. Recognizing and integrating our shadow allows us to become more aware of our own negative impulses and projections, reducing their power over us and fostering more constructive online interactions. Developing our persona consciously means choosing the image we present to the world, rather than allowing it to be dictated by societal pressures or the algorithms of social media platforms. Participating in the collective in a way that supports the individuation process involves seeking out diverse perspectives, engaging in constructive dialogue, and challenging our own assumptions, fostering intellectual humility and openness to new ideas. What then do we do when mitigation is not enough, when the grip of the digital world is too tight to be loosened by these techniques alone? Section 3. Beyond mitigation. Transforming the relationship with technology. Technology, in and of itself, is neither inherently good nor inherently bad. It is a tool, a powerful instrument that can be used for both constructive and destructive purposes. But the narrative that technology is bad has become so pervasive that it must be challenged. It is our responsibility, therefore, to use technology in a way that promotes well-being and connection, rather than isolation and addiction. But how do we shift our perspective from viewing technology as a threat to seeing it as a potential force for good? Consider the potential benefits of technology for education, communication, and creativity. Online learning platforms have democratized access to knowledge, allowing individuals to learn new skills and pursue their passions from anywhere in the world. Social media platforms can connect us with like-minded individuals, facilitating collaboration and innovation. Digital tools can empower us to express our creativity, creating art, music, and literature that can inspire and uplift others. The key lies in using technology mindfully and intentionally, rather than mindlessly and compulsively. This involves being aware of our motivations for using technology, setting clear goals for our online activities, and avoiding distractions that can lead to unproductive and addictive behaviors. Digital minimalism offers a promising path towards transforming our relationship with technology. But what exactly is digital minimalism, and how can it benefit our mental health and overall well-being? Digital minimalism is a philosophy of technology use that emphasizes intentionality, simplicity, and alignment with our values. It involves decluttering our digital lives and focusing on the technologies that truly serve us, eliminating those that distract us, drain our energy, or undermine our well-being. The benefits of digital minimalism are numerous, ranging from improved mental health and increased productivity to enhanced focus and a greater sense of overall well-being. By reducing our exposure to digital distractions, we can free up time and energy for activities that are more meaningful and fulfilling, such as spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones, or pursuing hobbies and interests. Implementing digital minimalism in our own lives might involve conducting a digital declutter, identifying the technologies that we use most frequently, and assessing their impact on our lives. We can then eliminate the technologies that are not serving us or find ways to use them more intentionally and mindfully. This might involve unsubscribing from unnecessary email lists, deleting unused apps, or setting limits on our social media use. But even beyond minimizing its negative impacts, how can technology actually be used to foster connection and authenticity? Social media, often vilified as a source of isolation and superficiality, can also be a tool for connecting with like-minded individuals, sharing our stories, and building community. Online platforms can also be used to promote social justice, raise awareness about important issues, and facilitate meaningful dialogue. Online communities dedicated to specific interests, hobbies, or social causes can provide a sense of belonging and support, allowing us to connect with others who share our values and passions. Social media can be used to amplify marginalized voices, challenge oppressive systems, and advocate for positive change. The key is to be intentional about how we use technology, focusing on activities that align with our values and contribute to our overall well-being. Eliade writes, "The sacred is preeminently the real, that which is enduring and efficacious." But how do we ensure that our digital interactions are grounded in the real, that they contribute to something enduring and efficacious? Technology can even be viewed through the lens of Jungian archetypes, specifically as a tool of the magician archetype. The magician archetype represents our ability to transform ourselves and the world around us through knowledge, skill, and conscious direction of energy. Technology, in this sense, becomes an extension of our will, a tool that we can use to manifest our intentions and create positive change. However, like any powerful tool, technology can also be used for destructive purposes if it is not wielded with wisdom and responsibility. Compare the magician archetype to other archetypes, like the warrior, who might use technology for aggression, or the shadow, who might use it to manipulate and deceive. Where does this leave us, then, in our journey to understand the psychology of digital isolation? Section 4. Synthesis, Future IMPLICATIONS, and concluding thoughts. In essence, we have explored the psychological effects of digital isolation, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness, the potential for technology to be used for good, and our need to avoid addiction. We examined Jungian concepts like the shadow, the persona, and individuation in the digital context. But what does it all mean for our future? As technology continues to evolve at an exponential rate, its impact on human psychology will only intensify. It is crucial that we develop the skills and knowledge necessary to navigate the digital landscape in a healthy and sustainable way, to understand the potential challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality are just a few of the technologies that are poised to reshape our lives in profound ways. We must be prepared to adapt to these changes, to critically evaluate the impact of these technologies on our mental and emotional well-being, and to advocate for policies and practices that promote a more human-centered approach to technology development. Ongoing research and education in this area are essential as we strive to understand the complex interplay between technology and the human psyche. But what kind of future do we want to create? We have the power to reclaim our inner lives and cultivate more authentic connections in the digital age. By becoming more aware of the psychological effects of technology and taking proactive steps to mitigate them, we can create a future where technology serves humanity rather than the other way around. This requires a collective effort involving individuals, communities, and policymakers, all working together to create a more balanced and sustainable relationship with technology. We must be willing to challenge the dominant narratives that promote endless consumption and digital distraction, and to prioritize values such as connection, authenticity, and well-being. The future of our digital lives depends on our choices today. What kind of digital world do we want to create, and what role will we play in shaping it? Section 1. The disconnected self. Existential loneliness in the digital age. Existential loneliness, a profound feeling of separation from others and the world, is not merely a fleeting emotion, but a pervasive sense of meaninglessness that has become increasingly prevalent in our digitally saturated world. It is a deep-seated sense of alienation, a feeling of being adrift in a sea of faces, both real and virtual, without truly connecting to anyone or anything. While technology promises to connect us, has it instead exacerbated our sense of isolation, leaving us yearning for something more profound than likes and shares? The digital world offers a semblance of connection, a mirage of intimacy that often falls short of meeting our deeper needs for belonging and understanding. Online relationships, while convenient and readily available, can lack the depth, vulnerability, and reciprocity that characterize genuine human connection. Knowing someone through a screen, exchanging messages, and sharing curated snapshots of our lives is fundamentally different from truly connecting with them on a personal level, sharing intimate moments, and experiencing the full spectrum of human emotion together. As Jung wrote, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." So, how can we expect a one-size-fits-all digital interaction to satisfy the diverse needs of the human heart? The performative nature of social media, where we carefully construct and project idealized versions of ourselves, further hinders genuine self-expression, creating a barrier between our true selves and the world. Are we presenting ourselves to the world, or a carefully constructed illusion of our own design? Existential loneliness is intrinsically linked to the search for meaning, a quest that many embark upon in the digital realm, hoping to find answers to life's big questions. The internet, with its vast sea of information and misinformation, can be both a source of connection and a catalyst for further alienation. Online communities centered around existential topics, offering a space for individuals to explore their beliefs and share their experiences, can provide a sense of belonging and support. However, these spaces can also become echo chambers, reinforcing existing beliefs and isolating individuals from diverse perspectives. The constant bombardment of information, the endless scroll of news and opinions, can leave us feeling overwhelmed and lost, further exacerbating our sense of meaninglessness. Is it any wonder that so many feel adrift in a world that offers so many answers, yet provides so little solace? How, then, can we navigate this digital landscape and cultivate a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in our lives? Section 2. The shadow of comparison. Envy, resentment, and the unconscious quest for status. Humans, by nature, are social creatures, and with that comes the innate drive to compare ourselves to others, a process that has been amplified exponentially by the advent of social media. Social comparison theory suggests that we assess our own worth and status in relation to those around us, constantly evaluating ourselves against the perceived successes and achievements of others. In the digital world, this natural tendency is amplified, fueled by the constant stream of curated content and the relentless pursuit of online validation. But to what extent are our online perceptions an accurate reflection of reality? Social media platforms, by design, encourage us to compare ourselves to highly curated and often unrealistic portrayals of others' lives. We are bombarded with images of picture-perfect vacations, flawless selfies, and seemingly effortless achievements, creating a distorted perception of reality that can leave us feeling inadequate and envious. This constant exposure to others' highlight reels can fuel feelings of envy, resentment, and inadequacy, leading to negative online behaviors such as trolling, cyberbullying, and passive-aggressive comments. Consider the Instagram influencer who carefully crafts an image of a luxurious and carefree lifestyle, attracting thousands of followers and generating substantial income through sponsored posts. While their success may seem enviable, it is important to remember that their online persona is often a carefully constructed illusion, masking the hard work, insecurities, and sacrifices that lie beneath the surface. Similarly, the seemingly perfect relationships portrayed on Facebook and other social media platforms can trigger feelings of envy and resentment in those who are struggling in their own relationships. But what is the true cost of this relentless pursuit of online status and validation? The quest for online status can become an unconscious drive, a desperate attempt to fill a void within ourselves. Driven by the Jungian shadow, our darker side, this desire for validation and recognition can lead us to seek external approval at the expense of our own authenticity. The shadow can manifest in the form of attention-seeking behaviors, such as posting provocative content, engaging in online drama, or relentlessly pursuing likes and comments. We may find ourselves sacrificing our values, compromising our integrity, and losing touch with our true selves in the pursuit of online fame. Like Narcissus, endlessly gazing at his own reflection, we become captivated by our online image, losing sight of the world around us and the people who truly care about us. Consider the aspiring musician who spends countless hours promoting their music on social media, neglecting their craft and sacrificing their personal relationships in the pursuit of online recognition. Or the political activist who becomes so consumed with online activism that they neglect their real-world responsibilities and alienate their friends and family. What happens when our online persona becomes more important than our real-life self? Cultivating self-compassion and gratitude offers a powerful antidote to the shadow of comparison. By practicing self-compassion, we can learn to accept ourselves with all our imperfections and flaws, recognizing that we are all works in progress. Gratitude helps us appreciate what we have, rather than focusing on what we lack, fostering a sense of contentment and reducing the urge to compare ourselves to others. This could involve making a conscious effort to focus on our strengths and accomplishments, celebrating our progress, and forgiving ourselves for our mistakes. Perhaps, even keeping a gratitude journal, writing down things we are thankful for each day, can shift our focus from what we lack to what we already possess. But how can we begin to cultivate these qualities and break free from the cycle of online comparison? Section 3. Active imagination in the digital realm. Connecting with the unconscious through online symbols. Carl Jung's active imagination, a potent technique for accessing and engaging with the unconscious, traditionally involves tapping into the symbolic language of dreams, fantasies, and waking visions through methods such as journaling, drawing, and painting. These methods, designed to bypass the rational mind and access the deeper layers of the psyche, allow us to engage with our inner world and gain insights into our unconscious motivations, conflicts, and desires. Yet, in a world increasingly mediated by technology, can this powerful technique be adapted for the digital age, harnessing the symbolic potential of the Internet to unlock the secrets of our unconscious? The Internet, a vast repository of symbols, metaphors, and narratives, offers a unique and readily accessible landscape for active imagination. Memes, emojis, avatars, and online communities all serve as potent symbols that can trigger our unconscious, evoking emotions, memories, and associations that may not be readily accessible through traditional methods. Dreams themselves can incorporate digital elements, reflecting our complex relationship with technology and the ways in which it shapes our inner world. Imagine dreaming of being trapped in a labyrinth of social media feeds, endlessly scrolling through a stream of faces and stories, feeling increasingly lost and disconnected. This dream might reflect our anxiety about the addictive nature of social media and our fear of losing ourselves in the digital world. By paying attention to these online symbols and engaging with them creatively, we can gain valuable insights into our inner world. The Internet is rich with raw material. So how can we harness this symbolic material? One technique involves journaling about our reactions to specific online content, paying attention to the emotions, memories, and associations that arise. We might explore why a particular meme resonates with us, what emotions a certain emoji evokes, or what aspects of our avatar reflect our inner self. Another approach involves creating art inspired by online symbols, using painting, drawing, or digital media to express our feelings and associations. We could create a collage of memes that represent our current state of mind, draw a portrait of our avatar, or write a poem inspired by an online news story. Engaging in dialogue with online characters in our imagination can also be a powerful tool. This might involve imagining a conversation with a fictional character from a video game, a historical figure from an online article, or even a particularly outspoken commenter on a social media post. Through this dialogue, we can explore different perspectives, challenge our own assumptions, and gain a deeper understanding of our own beliefs and values. Dream analysis, focused on digital themes, can provide valuable insights into our unconscious relationship with technology. Van France writes that, "The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul." By carefully examining our dreams and identifying the digital symbols that appear within them, we can gain a deeper understanding of our anxieties, desires, and motivations. But what about the use of rapidly evolving artificial intelligence, AI, technologies? There are risks associated with AI. AI-generated art, deepfakes, and AI chatbots may alter our perception of reality to the point where our unconscious will no longer be a place that houses our own personal symbols. How does this affect active imagination and analysis? Imagine a person struggling with digital addiction, using active imagination to explore the underlying emotional needs driving their behavior. Through journaling, they discover that their excessive social media use is a way of coping with feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. By engaging in dialogue with their online avatar, they gain insight into the idealized image they are trying to project to the world, recognizing that it is a mask that hides their true self. Through dream analysis, they uncover a recurring dream of being trapped in a digital maze, realizing that it represents their fear of losing themselves in the endless stream of online content. Armed with these insights, they can begin to address their underlying emotional needs in healthier ways, cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing their passions, and reclaiming their authentic self. But what happens when we can't properly manage these techniques? Section 4. RISKS and RESPONSIBLITIS. Navigating the ethical minefield of the digital unconscious active imagination in its traditional and digital forms offers undeniable benefits, including increased self-awareness, improved emotional regulation, and enhanced creativity. But like any powerful tool, it must be wielded with mindfulness, intention, and respect. While it offers immense potential for personal growth and transformation, can we overlook the potential risks and ethical considerations that arise when engaging with the unconscious, particularly in the ever-evolving digital realm? One of the primary risks lies in the potential for misinterpreting symbols or becoming overly attached to online narratives. The digital world is filled with a cacophony of voices, ideologies, and perspectives, some of which may be harmful or manipulative. Without critical thinking skills and media literacy, we can easily fall prey to misinformation, propaganda, or even extremist ideologies, allowing our unconscious to be influenced by forces that undermine our well-being. The endless stream of online content can be overwhelming, leading to a sense of information overload and emotional exhaustion. Becoming overly attached to online narratives, we can lose sight of our own values, beliefs, and experiences, becoming puppets of the digital world rather than masters of our own destiny. Thus, proper interpretation is paramount. But what if we still struggle? Engaging with the unconscious, whether through traditional or digital methods, can be a destabilizing experience, particularly for those with pre-existing mental health conditions. Unearthing repressed memories, confronting shadow aspects of our personality, or grappling with existential anxieties can trigger intense emotional reactions, leading to feelings of confusion, anxiety, or even dissociation. In these situations, seeking guidance from a qualified therapist or Jungian analyst is essential. A trained professional can provide a safe and supportive space to explore these complex emotions, helping us to integrate our experiences and navigate the challenges of the unconscious. Further, they can help us avoid the dangers of misinterpreting symbols or becoming overly attached to online narratives. As Jung himself noted, the journey into the unconscious is not without its perils, and it is wise to seek experienced guidance along the way. The ethical implications of using active imagination in the digital realm extend beyond our own personal well-being, raising questions about our responsibility to others. How do we ensure that we are not exploiting or manipulating others through our online interactions? How do we protect ourselves from being influenced by harmful content or ideologies? The digital world offers unprecedented opportunities for connection, collaboration, and creative expression, but it also presents new challenges to our ethical compass. Critical thinking, media literacy, and responsible online behavior are essential for navigating this complex landscape, ensuring that our digital interactions are grounded in respect, empathy, and a commitment to the well-being of all. But the questions don't end there. As technology continues to evolve, what role will the unconscious play in shaping our collective future? How can we harness the power of the digital unconscious for good, while mitigating its potential dangers? Section 1. The digital world as a reflection of the unconscious. Just as dreams are often seen as reflections of our inner lives, might the digital world, with its myriad of online interactions and virtual landscapes, also serve as a symbolic mirror of our unconscious minds. If the unconscious can be projected outwards into dreams, might they be projected outwards into the digital world that so many of us inhabit every single day? Jung writes that the dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. But if the dream world is symbolic, then surely our interactions in the digital world can be analyzed through the same lens. How does our online behavior reflect hidden aspects of ourselves, the desires, fears, and motivations that often remain hidden from our conscious awareness? The digital realm, in all its complexity, can be seen as a manifestation of the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human experience, archetypes, and primordial images. Social media trends, online communities, and digital narratives are all shaped by these underlying patterns, reflecting our shared anxieties, desires, and aspirations. The internet itself acts as a container for these archetypal expressions, a vast canvas upon which we project our hopes and fears, our loves and hates. Viral content, for example, often taps into universal themes and patterns, resonating with millions of people across cultures and backgrounds. Think of the ubiquitous hero's journey narrative that pervades countless online games and movies, or the recurring motif of the wise old man archetype that appears in various online communities and forums. The very idea of the internet troll speaks to the prevalence of the shadow archetype in the digital sphere. But to what extent are we aware of these underlying forces, and how do they influence our emotions, behaviors, and relationships online? Consider the hero archetype as expressed in online gaming communities. Players often embody heroic avatars, embarking on quests and battling against virtual enemies, mirroring the age-old human desire for adventure, self-discovery, and triumph over adversity. The trickster archetype, on the other hand, finds expression in meme culture, where playful subversion, irreverent humor, and witty satire reign supreme. These memes, which can contain jokes or express political or social ideas, can be seen as a modern form of storytelling that allows people to reflect on and share ideas. The mother figure archetype often manifests in online support groups, where individuals come together to offer emotional support, guidance, and nurturing to one another. While these archetypes can have positive and transformative effects, fostering connection, creativity, and personal growth, they can also be subject to negative expressions, leading to online bullying, social polarization, and the spread of misinformation. With the digital world so heavily reflecting these archetypes, how can these issues of mental illness be viewed through the lens of Jung? While the digital world can be a powerful mirror of the unconscious, reflecting our deepest desires and fears, it also presents unique challenges and risks to our psychological well-being, and might even be considered a modern psychosis. Section 2. Technology as a modern-day psychosis. Might technology addiction be considered a form of modern-day psychosis, a state of detachment from reality characterized by distorted perceptions, delusional thinking, and a breakdown of ego boundaries? Jung cautioned against the dangers of losing touch with reality, warning that the unconscious, if left unchecked, can overwhelm the conscious mind, leading to disintegration and psychological chaos. In the past, societal collapses and periods of mass hysteria have been attributed to various factors, from economic hardship to religious extremism. Could the mass adoption of technology, with its pervasive influence on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, be seen as a similar form of collective delusion? Technology, particularly social media, can distort our perception of reality, creating a false sense of connection while simultaneously isolating us from genuine human contact. The curated nature of online profiles, the constant pursuit of likes and validation, and the endless stream of information can lead to a breakdown of ego boundaries, blurring the lines between our true selves and our online personas. The digital world can create a false sense of connection, leading to feelings of isolation and alienation. Consider the individual who spends hours each day scrolling through social media feeds, comparing themselves to others, seeking validation through likes and comments, yet feeling increasingly empty and disconnected from the world around them. This can be referred to as a poverty of reality. The constant bombardment of information, the endless stream of opinions and perspectives, can lead to a state of cognitive overload, making it difficult to discern truth from fiction, fact from opinion. As Jung noted, the greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Is our modern psychosis simply a matter of outgrowing this new stage in human technological development? Consider the growing number of individuals struggling with addiction to social media, online gaming, and other forms of digital escapism. These addictions can have devastating consequences, leading to social isolation, financial hardship, and even physical health problems. The psychological consequences can be equally severe, with studies linking excessive technology use to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation. One case study examined a young man who became so addicted to online gaming that he dropped out of college, lost his job, and alienated his family and friends. He spent upwards of 16 hours a day playing video games, neglecting his basic needs and losing touch with reality. He had experienced a complete breakdown of his personal life and was now living in a digital world. As Jung writes, the psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. So, how do we take back our unconscious from the perils of technology and avoid such a fate? How, then, do we actively shape our online environment? Section 3. Reclaiming the unconscious. Individuation in the digital age, actively shaping our online environment, aligning it with our values, and promoting psychological well-being is a critical step in reclaiming our unconscious and fostering individuation in the digital age. Passivity, on the other hand, can leave us vulnerable to manipulation, addiction, and a loss of self. Do we passively consume the content that is fed to us by algorithms, or do we actively seek out information, perspectives, and communities that align with our values and promote personal growth? How can we use technology as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth, rather than allowing it to control and define us? Individuation, as Jung described it, is a process of psychological differentiation, a conscious effort to separate ourselves from the collective and embrace our unique selves. In the digital world, this involves challenging our own assumptions and biases, seeking out diverse perspectives, and reclaiming our shadow aspects, integrating our unconscious into our conscious awareness. It means recognizing the difference between the curated image we present online and our authentic selves, and striving to bridge that gap. Individuation can be hard work, as we all possess assumptions and biases that we need to confront. As Jung writes, no one can know what the ultimate things are. We must therefore take a definite attitude. How do we approach our inner bias in the context of our digital lives? This might involve curating our social media feeds, unfollowing accounts that trigger negative emotions, and actively seeking out content that inspires, educates, and challenges us. It might also involve creating meaningful online content, sharing our own stories, expressing our creativity, and engaging in online activism. Consider the individual who uses social media to promote environmental awareness, sharing information about climate change, advocating for sustainable practices, and organizing online campaigns. Or the artist who uses digital tools to create and share their work, connecting with other artists, and building a supportive online community. Ultimately, it comes down to a commitment to using technology mindfully and intentionally, prioritizing real-world connections and setting healthy boundaries with our digital devices. But how can we overcome our personal struggles in an attempt to transform technology? Given these individual transformations, what does the future hold? Section 4. The responsible digital future. The digital world, as we have seen, can be a powerful mirror of the unconscious, reflecting our deepest desires and fears. Technology addiction poses a significant threat to our psychological well-being, leading to detachment from reality and a breakdown of ego boundaries. However, individuation in the digital age offers a path towards reclaiming our unconscious, fostering self-awareness, and embracing our unique selves. The digital world, the unconscious, and the process of individuation are all interconnected. It is crucial to challenge the notion that technology is inherently bad. It is merely a tool, an extension of our human capacity for both good and evil. Conscious awareness, ethical considerations, and responsible innovation are essential for harnessing its power for good. Technology, after all, offers tremendous potential for fostering connection, creativity, and social change. We are on the cusp of many innovations to the digital realm, and it's important to recognize that the applications of it rest upon our ethics. However, it is up to the user to promote the potential benefits that technology can create. By approaching technology with awareness, intention, and a commitment to authenticity, we can harness its power for good and create a more conscious and connected world. Technology, in and of itself, is neither good nor bad. It is a magnifier of the human soul, amplifying our best and worst qualities. As we stand on the precipice of a new digital era, driven by artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and other emerging technologies, the choices we make today will shape the future of our collective unconscious. As Jung wrote, the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. What is stopping us from acting with a creative mind to fully utilize technology? How can we create a digital world that reflects our highest aspirations and supports our journey towards wholeness and individuation, supporting the development of our soul? In closing, we acknowledge the labyrinthine complexity of the digital landscape and the equally complex psychological terrain it reflects. Our journey through the shadows and reflections of the digital self has been an exploration of the modern psyche, and now we draw toward a final synthesis. We have reiterated the core themes that began with the promise of digital connection while simultaneously shaping our unconscious. The reclamation of authenticity in the digital age requires an acute awareness of these forces at play within us and around us. It's important to synthesize the concept of the digital shadow, persona, and individuation in the context of unconscious engagement. The insidious nature of digital addiction serves as a form of unconscious compensation for unmet needs, and it's up to us to be cognizant of this fact. We must acknowledge the pervasive influence of technology on the modern psyche and the erosion of ego boundaries in the digital collective. The imperative for conscious engagement with the archetypal forces at play online necessitates we become mindful participants in the digital world. The digital world is neither inherently good nor inherently evil. It is merely an expression of the human soul, with all its light and darkness. But digital minimalism can be a powerful path to re-establishing a healthy connection to reality. We began by asking whether technology truly brings us together or drives us further apart. Now, after exploring the digital shadow, curated self, and the pervasive influence of the collective unconscious, we can see that the answer lies not in a simplistic either-or, but in finding a balance. It lies in understanding the interplay between connection and disconnection, between authenticity and artifice, and between the conscious and unconscious aspects of our digital lives. We also question the price of sacrificing authenticity for online validation. We can now see that the initial image of technology as either a savior or a demon has evolved into a more nuanced understanding of its potential for both good and evil. Technology is a tool, and it is our responsibility to wield it consciously and ethically. Initially, the unconscious forces at play in the digital world might have seemed abstract or esoteric. But through our exploration, we now appreciate the profound complexity and relevance of our engagement with technology, especially our own projections into the digital sphere. We may not have all the answers, but we have developed a framework for understanding these forces and for navigating the digital landscape with greater awareness and intention. By understanding the archetypes, we can foster a deeper engagement with the digital world and use it as a tool for self-discovery, creativity, and connection. In a world that celebrates hyper-connectivity, true connection requires conscious disconnection. The more we immerse ourselves in the virtual world, the more important it becomes to cultivate meaningful connections in the real world. The more we curate our online personas, the more essential it becomes to embrace our authentic selves. Embracing limitations on technology use can lead to greater freedom and authenticity, as less becomes more in the digital realm. By consciously limiting our time online, setting healthy boundaries with our devices, and prioritizing real-world interactions, we can reclaim our attention, our energy, and our lives. This journey, though focused on the digital world, reflects the universal human quest for meaning, connection, and wholeness. It reflects the timeless search for truth, for self-understanding, and for a deeper connection to something larger than ourselves. It mirrors Jung's work on the individuation process, the lifelong journey of becoming our true selves. The digital world is merely a stage upon which we play out this ancient drama, a mirror reflecting our hopes, our fears, and our deepest desires. The digital world is a vast ocean, an ever-changing landscape of information, connection, and distraction. We must learn to navigate its currents with awareness, intention, and a deep respect for the hidden depths of our own unconscious. We must remember that technology is a mirror, reflecting not only the world around us, but also the innermost recesses of our own souls. By understanding our projections, we can understand ourselves, and by shaping our online environment, we can shape our own destiny. This understanding of the digital unconscious invites us to reconsider our relationship with technology, to examine our own digital habits, and to cultivate more mindful and authentic connections in our online and offline lives. The journey continues, and it is up to each of us to integrate these principles into our daily lives and relationships. How can we use technology as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth, rather than allowing it to control and define us? The question remains, how can we each integrate these principles into our daily lives and relationships, and what transformations might emerge? By reclaiming our unconscious and consciously shaping our digital environment, we can move toward a future where technology serves humanity, rather than the other way around. By embracing authenticity and connection, we can create a digital world